They finally did it. The Boston Celtics got over their title drought. It's been a long time for that franchise.
Yeah, only 16 years, man.
They've had to really endure some tough seasons. Bill Simmons sending out a photo of Keith Bogans being signed next to Danny Ainge. Said, you don't know what this was like.
Dude, can somebody shove that guy into a locker?
I've had to kind of get into mute. Did you
Like,
hear
I
any of
can't
what
do-
his stuff was after Game 4?
I don't go there because I know what it's going to do to me. You already know I got a quick fuse. If I listen to anything Bill Simmons right now trying to complain about the dark years of Boston Celtics basketball, are you kidding me?
He legitimately, on his last pod, after they had lost Game 4 by 1,000,000 points, he was honestly going on a "I'm panicked, this is danger zone" type rant, and I'm like,
have some perspective.
Can you just not?
Somebody who's never known real suffering and pain is a fan.
Oh, he would hate that you'd say that because I'm a Red Sox fan. It's like, oh yeah, how's that gone for
Yeah,
you?
but they've won 3 titles in the
Yeah.
last 20 years. Congratulations. How old are you, Bill Simmons? 50? So it was, the first 30 years of your life you didn't get to experience a title, and now you've seen 3? Like, shut up.
Are you going to explode today?
I might explode.
I feel like you're about
Boston
to rant on
winning a title.
everything.
Boston winning, like Bill Simmons, that stuff drives me nuts. When people who act like they're suffering fans, I had to watch Keith Bogans play point guard for the Celtics.
Man, if
Shut
anybody's
up.
having dirt over for breakfast or for dinner soon, do not get Boston
Dude,
cream pie.
my team won 20 games this year. We haven't sniffed a title in
better
a
not
quarter
be
century.
Dunkin' Donuts
And we don't
anywhere
have an
in the
NFL team, and we
building.
don't have a Major League Baseball team.
And your Major League Baseball team sucks.
Hey, they won a good game last night against the Cubs. Easy.
They still sub 500? Or?
Yeah, probably.
Well, they did it.
They did it.
The Celtics did it.
They did.
Did they get the MVP right? Was it Jaylen Brown? Because
I think
Tatum
so.
led him in all the categories statistically.
I think for me it was either him or Drew Holiday. I think
Tatum a third, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think Tatum's the icing on the cake. Like he's more like the closer because he got hot in the fourth quarter after everybody else spread him out, and then he just closed it in the fourth quarter.
Weren't they up by 20 in the fourth quarter? I think that game
Was that game
over
ever within
mid-third.
20? I turned it off in the second half.
But I think as far as the guys that set the tone early on in games at both ends of the floor, it was Brown and Holiday
Yeah.
for me.
Brown picking up Doncic, even though Doncic had some pretty good outputs in the series. Brown, and you heard it a couple times on the mic'd up thing of like, if you want the ball, you're going to have to bring it up because he's basically like, if Luka gets rid of the ball, I'm doing everything to shadow or to face guard him and not let him get that ball back. It's the toughest assignment you can get in that series is having to guard Luka Doncic.
Yeah, I felt like they got the MVP right. I agree with Swag. For me, it was either Brown or it was Drew Holiday. And it's not that Tatum was terrible. I just thought those guys, the game 2 that Drew Holiday had, I thought was massive to win. He was the best player on the floor, and that gave him a 2-0 series lead. Brown was really good consistently throughout. It wasn't like Tatum, fell on his
Tatum
face
would
like
pick
he did
his
against Golden
spots.
State.
He'd have hot quarters or he'd have a stretch where he'd just get loose.
His game 2 was pretty atrocious, though.
It was awful.
There's other times where, and this is the frustrating thing about Tatum, there's other times where he'll hold the ball, it stalls, it clogs down, and he's just looking to set up and shoot threes, and that's the most frustrating. His most success was when he would take 1 or 2 guys to the paint and be physical and finish and get to the line. When he's getting threes out of rotation because Holiday or Brown or somebody else drives and the ball comes back to him, I love those.
Sure.
The ones where he's holding, dribbling, sidestepping, fadeaway threes, that I hate. And that's the most frustrating part of his game because he doesn't have to do it.
Well, and look, I jokingly get angry at the city of Boston. Their long-suffering drought of 2018 without winning a title is now over, so I'm happy for them.
Long-suffering, that city.
6 years is a long time to go without winning a title, but I genuinely was happy for a lot of guys on the roster. Pritchard is the obvious example, local kid. Like, that's just cool that he's hung around in the NBA, that he won a title. That's awesome.
If you tell high school me, and I'm assuming the same would apply to both you, even though we're at different ages, if I told you what the Mike Bring Bang meant, to be able to have 2 of them from half court in the finals.
In the NBA finals,
I don't
so
even care what I shoot in the rest of that finals.
That's my ringtone right there.
Bang! Oh, constant.
Swigard. Bang!
You imagine having that on a call of your shot? I would have that ready on my phone every time I play golf. Every time I'm putting, like hand my phone to somebody and be like, dude, if this goes in, you're hitting the hell out of this bang right here. Bang for birdie.
That's your text or your push notification or whatever. Bang!
But you had Al Horford, who the list of most NBA playoff games without winning a title was Karl Malone at 193, Al Horford at 185, and John Stockton at 182. He ends it. His dad's there. That was really cool. The guy that I honestly was most happy for, and this is somewhat of a rooting interest because I was glad that Tatum didn't win the MVP, was Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is the guy that has been, for some reason, scapegoated in that city for like 6 years now of he's the guy that you got to trade. He's the one that's always in the rumors. Literally a year ago, we were having conversations in Portland about can we go get Jaylen Brown out of Boston
for the number 3
number 3 overall pick, and are the Celtics, who fell short again, are they going to look to restart, and are they unhappy? Jaylen Brown he was the DeMar DeRozan in Toronto. He was the guy that you looked at of like, all right, can this tandem do it? But it was never as Tatum falling short. The reason it was always, is the running mate next to Jason Tatum good enough? He was the best player when they got to the finals a couple of years ago. I thought he deserved the MVP again this year. He was outstanding throughout the course of the postseason. And I was genuine, like him getting that reception, getting the MVP trophy, giving the speech, dropping a bunch of F-bombs. That was really cool, and I was really happy for Jaylen Brown.
Well, and I know you feel a certain way about Tatum. We've talked about Tatum a lot. He's a weird player to kind of explain. He's obviously talented, but I think he gets put in a category I don't know if I'd put him in, and it's just kind of he's a weird player in that way. He's hard to put into words.
He's very good. We all know he's very good.
But I really liked what Jaylen did. I thought my TV froze because they cut off what he was saying because they muted it because he had cursed, but I didn't realize that in real time. I thought it was awesome that I'm sharing this, you can't share it technically, but I'm sharing this with Jason. Like, if I'm a Celtic fan, that was the best part of the post game. No matter what anything else happened, the champagne celebration, the goggles, all that stuff's fun. I loved hearing that because that makes me think, oh man, these guys are all in. They're not going anywhere. I don't know if they'll win another one. It's certainly hard. This is 6 straight seasons now of a different champion.
Yep.
But knowing you have your two 27 and 26-year-olds locked in together in a partnership, and they're both of good size and athleticism, that makes me really excited if I'm a Celtic fan.
I think the big question will be how much does the salary cap jump when the new TV deals kick in when Tatum's max extension kicks in?
Tatum's going to get paid this offseason. He's going to get his $300 million.
They're already a second apron team too.
Yes.
I mean, their financials are tough, and maybe they just pay the tax and they're willing to do that, and they just want a title, so they bring it all back. But it was another example of smart management and a GM who went out and got Al Horford again. Went out and got Derek White from the Spurs.
That was underrated.
Massive.
Yeah.
The Porzingis deal was a theft, of all thefts.
The Wizards didn't want him, and they took a couple second-round picks. It didn't cost them much to get Porzingis.
And all it took was a couple of banged-up old vets to get Drew Holiday and a future first-round pick and a bad pick this year in this year's draft that's not very good. And so to go get Al Horford again, Derek White, who has been great for them, Porzingis, who I know was banged up in the playoffs, but really good all year. And again, as we just talked about, Drew Holiday was maybe one of their best players in the finals. Massive moves for a team that was so close, felt like they had their nucleus, but you just needed to change the pieces around them. They finally got the right combination, and they won a title.